As an immigrant from China to America, my grandma is the closest link for me and the rest of her grandchildren to her homeland. In that way, she has the most important role to play of keeping us grandchildren attached to our roots. One of my most precious childhood memories is sitting in my grandma's third-floor kitchen watching her cook for me. And given our language barrier, she would always say, "I love you," with fresh hot dumplings. And one cold winter afternoon, she taught me how to say "I love you" to others for the rest of my life. Always start with the most important part, the dough. Papa would throw the entire bag of flour into a large bowl and form a well with her fingertips in the center. She laid her soft hands on top of mine and we massaged the dough together. She would take her hands off of mine to pour a little water, massage and repeat. "It's very important not to over-knead," she said. "Give it a light spank and it should sound like your fat tummy and look like a dragon's egg." Cover with plastic and set aside. Next up, the part filled with constant noise and knife chopping, the filling. Starting with Napa cabbage, she made several cuts along the stalks, and then chopped them into itty-bitty pieces. "Double wash the chives," she said. "We are clean, no root." One steady slice down the middle. Chop. I remember asking if we should use the dark green or the light green parts of the chives. She spanked my butt lightly and yelled, "Moi moi, don't waste." For the half-spicy, half-peppery taste, ginger. Papa would not dare touch an easy peel utensil. She said a big sharp knife is all I'll need to use for anything in the kitchen. So a big sharp knife it will be. Half it and flatten it with a pound of the knife to get the flavorful juices flowing. Mince and set aside. Now for my favorite part as a child, deveining the shrimp. Watching Papa slither her weapon along the back sides of the shrimp so steadily was so aesthetically pleasing for me. Shrimp after shrimp, I would watch her carefully place all the sandy veins into one pile. Ew. Chop. To ensure that every single dumpling is moist on the inside, make sure the ground pork is fatty. Secret ingredient, oyster sauce. Fold the sauce into the meat, add the shrimp, the chives, and the ginger. Then slowly add the cabbage by the handful. After about an hour, we would come back to the dough. Flour the surface. Lots, Papa said. Slice in half. Only work with one half at a time. Make a smaller ball, poke a hole in the middle. Stretch it out into a large ring, like a racetrack. Cut once to make a snake. Then cut a lot more times to make little dollops that look like scallops. Now put the balls and flour into a Ziploc bag and shake, shake, shake until they all help each other to ball. Now we're ready to roll, and this must be perfect. You take a small rolling pin and start from the middle. Time to fill. Add a dollop into the middle of the dumpling wrapper and make sure that you seal the meat in. Those circles come to embrace the perfect kiss of filling, so that the circle folds into a half moon with enough room to pull, pinch, and seal the edges together into a lovely ruffle. It should be aesthetically beautiful, Papa said. It should be tough enough to stand up to the cooking, but ultimately tender as an earlobe. We place the dumplings one by one into an oiled pan, then wait for their sizzles to sing. Coming back to the table together is what I miss most. She would gently blow on each dumpling before feeding it to me, till the temperature was just right. I felt so loved from every spoonful. I now understand why my papa constantly forced me food and recited her recipes. Food has always been one of her many ways of showing how deeply she cares for me. But beyond that, it is a reflection of the beauty embedded within my culture's deep value in preserving our family's closeness and connection. And so these dumplings have become so much more than one of my favorite foods. And for me, a simple homemade dumpling is a connection to the past and one of the only tangible and oh so tasty things left to pass along to future generations.